scarcity, people not having certain things around the world, we automate a system that is not based on, for interest's sake, an economy is set up to economise. So it's set up to be able to distribute goods and put a value on different goods and services so that you can economise these goods and services. What the economy is doing at the moment, through all these technological breakthroughs and that sort of thing, is that it's actually saying that, it's trying to maintain the status quo, it's trying to maintain the established order. So what's happening with these technologies that are getting made, such as the electric car or fucking whatever, to keep the oil industry running, the electric car's actually put out of business. To keep, there's been many documented cases of solar panels being put back decades and decades because for this day and age, every house that's built should automatically, it should be a law that you have solar panels all over the house.
Yes.
So the house is self-sufficient. You don't have to rely on any other source of, maybe at peak times or when there's a cloudy day, you get a bit of energy from the grid, but you should not
that's
have
something
to.
that can be integrated into the economy now. That's no problem. We'll just have a law where that's the case.
So when you got an economy saying, we're going to suppress this because we want to maintain the status quo, then that's an anti-economy.
So you're talking about those things. But we can make a law about solar panels having to be on a house. That's fine. What you're saying is that the economy is in no way, and you cannot argue, I would love to hear someone argue, that it is the best and productive way to have creative and innovative and the most forward-thinking technologies and creativity coming out of it, because we've seen, just as you described there with the car, that it is not. And with things like planned obsolescence, which is, if people don't know about this, it is worth looking up because it will you'll vomit at the thought of what it is. They create things to break, and there is a law where things have to break because it has to keep the cycle of consumption going.
Yeah.
We're talking about things like toasters and stuff like that. You can't. That is obviously not an economy.
Yeah.
That's not economizing anything.
No.
That's retarded.
Yeah, certainly.
So that's how the economy is fucked, and we need to fix it.
Yeah.
There's reasons like that, Yeah.
Well, I think a good place to start and to talk about also is, we're not starting, we're continuing. A good place to start is the laziness factor of the mental hurdle which we have in our everyday society, which I'm not really sure of the source of where this problem comes from. Where do you learn? I think of what it comes down to when I hear people say, well, look, you try and offer a different solution, like a sustainable economy, a resource-based economy that it doesn't rely on fiat currency, on money that resembles value, but it relies on, the fact that I have resources here which may run out, so I can't, abuse these resources. When you try and present an economy like that, a new style of economy which sort of is sustainable and is equal for everyone to use, it's hard. And then you can say, well, look, to sell it to someone with this economy, growth is not a necessity. You don't need to grow and in order to consume. Growth is a byproduct of consumption. But for us to continue consuming and growing the economy, we need to growth. Does population increase?
That has to be the only reason. The only reason for growth should be population increase.
Be the only reason. Unfortunately, that's not the main reason. But then you say, well, look, you get rid of that growth factor, which is inherent in capitalism, not so much in socialism and communism. Get rid of that growth factor and you develop a new system, you won't have to work that much. You know what I mean? And then they talk about, well, how do you distribute those hours? How do you can't have people just sitting around watching TV all day. And you go, well, it's just a stupid fucking argument. I fully believe that, humans have if you want to go down the fucking stupid human nature path, one human nature aspect is for humans to thrive and to grow and and be successful in their life, hopefully in some way or another, with a decent education and an equal upbringing. That is a human characteristic, a human nature characteristic that you can fucking bet all your money on.
I think that's an opinion of yours, though, Shaun. I wouldn't say everyone agrees with you that that's human nature.
Well, no. I think you're talking about. Look, people always say, oh, these people are sitting a dole and they got all this fucking money.
Yeah.
So you don't understand.
That's an opinion of what people.
You've never been in a situation where you've been at rock bottom, okay, and it's so hard to work your way up this economic ladder. Okay, it's tough. You've been shat on your whole life. The system hasn't necessarily been, and everyone's like, just go and get a fucking job, pull up your bootstraps and get to work. Work hard and you'll get everything you want. That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Not for everyone, but for the vast majority of people, that system needs people at the bottom.
So the opportunity isn't always there like it is.
No.
Yeah.
No, and this laziness, you can't have people sitting around doing whatever. Just let me finish this point. You can't have people sitting around doing whatever. You get upset when I start talking more and more.
No, but you just fucking go off sidetracks, and I actually don't understand what the point is you're trying to make.
No. That's because I keep trying to bring it in, but I've got so much to say in the middle of that point. All right,
I think I can summarise what you're trying to say.
The laziness factor, well, don't, because it'll dumb it down too much. The laziness factor is ridiculous. And what I think it comes down to, what I honestly think it comes down to, people are not happy with their lot in life. Now, they might be working hard in a job, trying to work their way up this economic career-based ladder. Okay, but they're not happy in their life. So if they're not happy and they're having to work hard, how dare someone else sit around and get paid or get some sort of free ride when they're having to work in a shit job?
Yeah.
So that's I think that's a fundamental basis of why humans don't like other humans sitting around doing nothing. I think
that's a really good point. And I think that comes back to people being accountable for their decisions. And I actually thought what Kat was saying at FO the other night was interesting. How we brought up the whole issue of, how hard are you supposed to work in the office? If people are staying back, are you supposed to feel bad that they're staying back and working hard for the team goal? And Kat said, she's like, I feel I work to stay back all the time, and I feel like I want people to pull their weight. And I sort of think I understand that when there's a team, a team environment, and everyone has to pitch in. Surely there's a minimum amount you need to do your bit. Fine, as long as you do that, it's fine. But you need to sort of be happy with. You need to make a decision about you doing something because you want to do it. That's that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you get back in return, what other people do. You've made that choice to put in that amount of effort, and that's that. And you should only be concerned with what you're doing. If you've made that, and when you make a choice like that, you make it knowing the consequences. So you do it for whatever reason it is you've decided, whether it be for complete satisfaction at the task at hand, or it might be from a praise from your employer understanding, seeing that you're working hard, or whatever it is you're doing. That is that's a trade-off between the decision that you're making, between the effort you're going to put in and the consequence you get back, and it's got nothing to do with anybody else's part, And I think that's a really important thing. But I think one of the main things that this laziness thing comes down to, and the issue of people being unemployed for a while, what will they do when technological advances come in, take people's jobs, comes down to the meaning of life. What is the reason that we're here? And people have different opinions about that.
Obviously, to make money.
And I think that even to say, like what you said before, obviously, it seems to be the reason that we're here at the moment, doesn't it?
That's the overwhelming consensus.
But also,
if you were an alien looking down on the planet, you'd be like, well, they're all just trying to make money.
Exactly, they're trying to make money. But if you look at the idea of what that really should mean, I'm here to make money. So let's try and purify that, that motive, because I want to enjoy the fruits of life. Because I want to have the means to be able to participate in society. And that's fine. That makes so much sense. But the problem is that money is tied into your survival. And it gives it that cutthroat edge when you're going out there to participate in society and make money. It's like, I fucking have to make money because I have to survive. And there's many other, obviously dirty parts about that whole thing. But I think, the meaning of life is huge here, because really at the end of the day, what the fuck are we supposed to be doing anyway if we're not working? And I think what you said before about human nature being you need to be growing and achieving and succeeding.
Yeah.
Growing personally, sure, I think that's an important thing that we definitely would benefit as a soul, or whatever the fuck it is we are, to grow. I think that's a beautiful thing, but even that isn't necessarily the reason why we're supposed to be here. And I definitely don't think success and achievement is really human nature, the thing that we need to be doing. I understand that there's a lot of satisfaction that comes with having a profession or a skill, going out there and doing it to the best of your ability and being satisfied with your work and contributing to other people's lives with your work and your skills. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And that can be seen as success. But there are so many different forms of success. And I think really success is just being happy with the way that you spend each minute on the planet.
Yeah.
And that can be anything, even to the point of simply just sitting there, and that's it. You just exist. And that's what Buddhism says. That's what that says. The meaning of life is to simply exist.
Certainly.
Just be. And you've already succeeded.
If I had the time, the endorphins I get through that my body creates, that my brain creates, when I meditate for extended periods, if I could do that for 2 or 3 hours a day, that is something that I would be right into, because, I get such an unbelievable feeling when I can get right deep down into a meditation, like my whole body starts vibrating. So but you just, what time? How the fuck do you do that? That's so ridiculous. And everything works clearer when I can meditate for longer.
Yeah.
But my brain works clearer. My speech is better. My thought patterns. I decide to start writing articles.
Yeah.
I decide to, everything works in a more fluent manner and a more pure manner. I fully believe that if everyone could spend time meditating, just like in, South America, they go and siesta and all that. If everyone,
meditating siestas.
Yeah. But
that would be funny.
Actually, my uncle's trying to set up this a company called Moments to Meditate, and one of the markets that some people are trying to tap into now is like corporate meditation. So you can sort of go in and they half a Friday or something, then they go and
that makes sense, and it makes sense for the corporations to see
that
that's productive. It certainly
does. If you've ever really been involved in some, and this shit takes time, a good 6 months for you to get into some sort of really beneficial meditation of day in, day out, maybe 30 minutes or 2 times 30 minutes a day, that sort of thing. Then you really start to understand the benefits of what this sort of medicine can do, and I do fucking think it's a definitely medicine. It's a medicine.
Absolutely.
It's maybe one of the most powerful, because you think about meditation and you think, when is it? And this is a funny thing, apart from when you go to sleep, when was the last time that anyone even listening to this, or even you and me who doesn't meditate, when was the last time that nothing was happening in their head? Nothing. When you're fully awake and conscious, where you can stand there and go, you have something like fucking, I forgot, is 800,000 thoughts a day or something something ridiculous like that, and there is never a point where your brain is shut off. And once you start understanding, you can shut your brain off when you're fully conscious, and then you can come out of that. Things do start to change in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that is a form of mental control. Me and Tess were talking about this the other day. Tess's comfort levels must be fucking highly extreme in situations. Sometimes, Tess says, no negative about this, but Tess doesn't like cold weather. Big no.
I don't like being cold.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't like being cold. Hate it. But Tess actually can that. The coldness of, probably for a lot of people, the coldness factor for Tess can actually, override whatever she's doing at that point and go, that's it. Shut down, I'm out of here.
But that's not, I don't think that's that. I mean, okay, maybe I'm a bit more sensitive to it. But we're not talking
about snowing cold. We're not talking about...
maybe I'm a little bit more sensitive to it normal, but I think a lot of people are like, it's a bit cold here, can we move? That's a pretty reasonable request.
No, it certainly is, but not to the point that if there is nowhere to move, then I'm going to go home. That's your point, if there is nowhere to go. But also,
Anyway, I'm all for the strengthening discipline of the mind and all that.
Certainly,
but I don't think I have... I mean, I definitely could improve in that regard, but I think I'm doing pretty well anyway.
That's what meditation
in other ways. And I could, if I wanted to, I could battle the cold thing.
Disciplining your mind.
But I don't want to yet.
No, don't.
I don't want to.
Don't do anything until you have to. but like strengthening the mind, that's a big